The fixed draws. Have you ever felt like the same players meet way too often in the early rounds? Like, wait, didn't these two just play in the last tournament? This is where I'll say, welcome to the fixed draws theory. And the claim is simple. Tournament organizers manipulate the draws to engineer blockbuster matchups early on. This happens especially when a big name is returning from an injury or needs a confidence booster. Fans have pointed out the time when Nadal and Schwartzman met 6 times in a span of 2 years, and 4 of those were before the quarters. Or how Federer always gets the easier half of the draw at Wimbledon, as fans claim. Can this all be a coincidence? Maybe. But critics believe that with millions in TV ratings on the line, those random draws ceremonies aren't as random as they seem. The ATP has consistently denied allegations of draw manipulation and insists on the integrity of the process. They always stand firm and say everything they do is being done by the book. Skeptics point out that the draw process isn't always televised, and in some events, especially the smaller ones, officials have admitted to adjusting pairings to sell more tickets, whether it's outright rigging or just subtle nudges to protect the stars. This theory shows that tennis is as much a business as it is a sport. And in business, predictability sells. Secret doping. This is a theory that hasn't been proven, but there's plenty of suspicion about it. Fans say that some top players are secretly using performance-enhancing drugs. Now, that's a big accusation. They also believe that the testing system is flawed. Unlike cycling or track, tennis doesn't have nearly as many high-profile doping bans. Why? Conspiracy theorists believe it's because tennis doesn't want the PR nightmare. There's evidence that testing is inconsistent. Players are tested during tournaments, but we rarely see out-of-competition testing. Some even report knowing when the test is about to happen, which makes microdosing undetectable. The case that really fired this theory up was Maria Sharapova's 2016 ban for meldonium. After she was suspended, fans started speculating that if she was caught, there must be others who are doing it and getting away with it. And the speculations don't end here. Fans also claim how suspicious it is for a player to recover insanely fast from an injury, or to maintain high energy levels deep into 5-set matches. Yes, none of this is proven yet. But in a sport where margins are razor thin, even a whiff of chemical help stinks up the room. The Federer favoritism. Brace yourselves, because this one's controversial. Some fans believe that the golden boy of tennis, Roger Federer, was subtly protected by the ATP throughout his career. People believe that the officials gave him better scheduling, slower conditions to favor his game, and even looked the other way during time violations. The fans who support this theory love to point out how Federer often got the night session slots at big tournaments. Why? Because night matches are cooler, the ball travels slow, and it's easier on the body. Add that to preferential cooling after rest days, and you've got a player primed to perform. And then there's Hawk-Eye. Some players did embrace it, but there were matches where Hawk-Eye wasn't implemented, usually on smaller courts. This led fans to speculate whether Roger benefited from the lack of challenge systems at key moments. Is it a stretch? Maybe. But when you're a 20-time slam winner, some conspiracy is bound to follow. Whether Federer was protected, or was he actually that good? Well, it just depends on which subreddit you're reading. Rafael Nadal's clone. Okay, we're going deep into the conspiracy rabbit hole with this one. There's a fringe theory that the king of clay, Rafael Nadal, isn't just one person, but 2. The idea that during the early 2000s, when Nadal was battling injuries, a body double-trained to play like him and filled in while the real Rafa recovered. Ridiculous? Of course. But here's where it starts to get weird. Some fans say his body looked different in certain seasons. They'll point to differences in muscle definition, hairline changes, or even his left-handedness. They say he was taught to play lefty for a competitive advantage. Other fans say the clone theory explains his insane stamina during long clay matches. Like, how does someone grind for 5 hours straight and doesn't even look tired? Is it even human? That's what they ask. Obviously, this is the tennis equivalent of lizard people conspiracy, but it's got a small cult following online, whether it's Rafa or a clone. But whoever it was in the 2022 French Open final, one thing is for sure, and it's that they knew how to play tennis. I mean, that display was phenomenal. The match fixing underground. Here's a theory that's actually been proven. Match fixing in tennis is real, and it's more widespread than you think. While most people imagine shady dealings in low-level tournaments, there's evidence that it happened in the ATP Tour Level 2. The most infamous case? The 2007 game between Nikolai Davydenko and Martin Vassallo Arguello. Davydenko was world number 4 at the time. Mid-match, massive bets suddenly started pouring in for Arguello, who was the underdog in the match. And even though Davydenko won the first set, the bet still favored Arguello. Suspicious? Absolutely. Davydenko eventually retired with an injury, and the betting company Betfair voided $7 million in wagers. Since then, the Tennis Integrity Unit has stepped up and investigated hundreds of matches. Some players have been banned for years, like Nicholas Kicker, or even for life, like Daniel Kohlerer. But here's the scary part. Fixing is reportedly easier in tennis as compared to other sports. Why? Because only one player needs to be in on it. You know, miss a return here, a double fault there, and boom, the bet pays out. And today, we're living in the age of live betting, where even point-by-point manipulation can be profitable. So yeah, conspiracy? Not really. This one's real, and it's as ugly as it gets. If you think tennis was immune to corruption, think again. Fake injuries. Ah yes, the legendary fake medical timeout. Some fans believe that top players strategically call for medical timeouts, not because they're injured, but just to break momentum or reset the rhythm of the match. And who's the biggest target of these fans? Novak Djokovic. Over the years, Djokovic has been accused, not only by the fans, but by the players too, of calling timeouts at very convenient times. Down a set, suddenly there's something wrong with his shoulder. Lost a tiebreak. Let's get the physio. Then he magically comes back fully refreshed and starts playing lights-out tennis. But to be fair to him, Djokovic has been incredibly transparent about his fitness struggles. And we've also seen him actually push through pain, like when he played in the 2021 Australian Open with a torn abdominal muscle. But still, when a player wins a slam after calling a medical timeout for a serious injury, conspiracy bells start ringing. And he's not the only one who's targeted by the supporters of this theory. Nadal's back issues, Kyrgios's shoulder flare-ups, and even Serena's cramps have sparked debates. Are they real injuries, or just part of a deeper psychological game? In the world of tennis, sometimes the break is mightier than the backhand. The Australian Open ball gate. Here's one theory that got buried really quickly, but it surely caused a stir before going away. In the 2023 Australian Open, players complained that the balls being used felt dead. Players like Nadal and Murray also claimed the balls were different from previous years, and that they're bouncing very low and fluffing up quickly. You must be thinking, why is it such a big deal? Because in tennis, even slight changes in ball speed can tilt the playing field dramatically. And obviously, the conspiracy theorists jumped on this one. They claimed the organizers intentionally chose slower balls to neutralize power players and favor long rallies, which will help in boosting match length, ticket value, and broadcast ratings. Some even suggest it was done to help players like Djokovic, who thrives in longer baseline exchanges. Others think it was just a manufacturing change gone wrong. But here's where things get really suspicious. The tournament never actually clarified why the balls were changed. They just moved on. No explanation, no press conferences. Just, yeah, the balls feel a bit different this year. In tennis, equipment isn't just gear, it's strategy. So when you mess with something that important without giving any reasons, well, don't blame the fans then for raising their eyebrows. The time violation. Double standard. Let's talk about time now, specifically the 25-second serve clock. The rule says players must start their motion within that window, but not all time violators are treated equally. Enter the time violation conspiracy. Some fans claim umpires go out of their way and are more lenient with big-name stars like Nadal and Djokovic. And when it's a lesser-known player, the umpires crack down on them. It's worth mentioning here that Nadal is notorious for his long rituals between points. He touches his nose, ears, shorts, shirt, It's like he's unlocking a safe. But still, we rarely see him get violations. On the other hand, players like Denis Shapovalov and Diego Schwartzman have received code violations for barely exceeding the limit. Umpires may hesitate to penalize stars on big points because they fear backlash from the crowd, media, and even the ATP. It raises the question, is this rule actually enforced? Or is it just another tool selectively applied whenever it's convenient to do so? In a sport where every second counts, fairness should be clockwork. The fans aren't convinced. The umpire bias. Some umpires are known by name, and that's not always a good thing. Remember Carlos Ramos? He's the guy who penalized Serena Williams in the 2018 US Open final. Some fans claim he did it because he didn't like her. The ump was too quick to issue warnings and too rigid with violations. On the other hand, there are fans who claim the guy was right and that he was just doing his job. But that's the crux of the theory, the umpire bias. Some umps have a reputation for clashing with specific players, and fans believe these bad blood histories influence their calls. Mohamed Lahyani once gave a mid-match pep talk to Nick Kyrgios. Yes, a pep talk. That sparked outrage, with people questioning his neutrality. And that's not it. There are some fans who claim umpires subconsciously favor home players, especially in loud stadiums like Arthur Ashe or Rod Laver Arena. The roar of the crowd, the national flags. Can they really stay 100% neutral? Even a small bias like a missed out call or a soft code violation can swing a match. So while tennis is supposed to be one of the most respectful sports, fans aren't so sure it's always fair between the lines. Have you ever seen something suspicious on court yourself? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe, because I'll be posting a lot here. Until next time.